Ad. Rome is dying. A plague is spreading across the empire. Millions of people are dead. Streets that once represented the center of civilization have become places of fear, sickness, and mourning. And the crisis is only beginning. The northern borders are collapsing on 3 different fronts. Enemy tribes are advancing. Roman generals are failing. Soldiers are exhausted, and the empire's survival depends upon decisions being made under impossible pressure. At the center of it all stands one man. The emperor, Marcus Aurelius. But the empire is not the only thing he is losing. 8 of his 13 children will not survive into adulthood. The man responsible for protecting millions of people cannot protect his own family from disease, suffering, and death. His surviving son Commodus is already showing signs of cruelty, arrogance, and uncontrolled ambition. Marcus can see what his son may become. But even the most powerful father in the world cannot completely control the character of his own child. And so, on the frozen banks of the Danube, Marcus Aurelius sits alone inside a military tent. Outside, Rome is fighting for survival. Inside, the emperor picks up a pen. But he does not write about military strategy, politics, or conquest. He writes to himself. These notes are not intended to inspire an audience. They are not written for publication, fame, or history. They are private reminders written by a man trying to remain calm, disciplined, and human while everything around him is collapsing. Those private notes would later become the Meditations. They survived not because they contained political secrets, but because they revealed something far more valuable. They documented the inner struggle of a man who possessed almost everything the world could offer and understood that none of it was the point. Marcus Aurelius developed a principle that sounds almost impossible when you first hear it. The thing blocking your path can become the path itself. An obstacle does not automatically improve your life, but your response to it can shape the person you become. When a river meets a boulder, it does not waste itself demanding that the boulder disappear. It moves around it. It flows through the cracks, and the pressure created by the resistance gives the river greater depth, force, and direction. When plague devastated Rome, Marcus did not deny what was happening. He organized grain distribution, managed public procedures, and continued governing. He performed his duty while personally experiencing the same grief, illness, and uncertainty as the people he ruled. Think about the situation you cannot change. The person who betrayed you. The opportunity you lost. The event you keep replaying in your mind. How much energy are you spending fighting the fact that it happened? The obstacle may remain, but you do not have to remain imprisoned by it. Every morning, Marcus prepared himself to meet difficult people. The arrogant, the ungrateful, the dishonest, the selfish. He was not describing an unusually bad day. He was preparing himself for an ordinary one. After governing millions of people for 19 years, Marcus understood that human behavior is often driven by fear, ego, conditioning, and self-interest. Most people do not fully understand why they behave the way they do, and expecting them to behave perfectly only guarantees disappointment. When you expect everyone to be good, every selfish action feels personal. It feels like betrayal. But when you understand that people act according to their fears, habits, and character, their behavior becomes information. You are no longer shocked. You simply see them more clearly. Marcus did not become a cynic. He did not decide to hate humanity. He learned to expect less, observe more, and continue doing what he believed was right. This was not coldness. It was psychological immunity. There was another practice Marcus returned to repeatedly. Memento mori. Remember that you will die, not as a depressing thought, but as a tool for removing everything that does not deserve your limited time. Death was not an abstract idea to Marcus. He ruled during years of plague, war, and personal loss. Mortality entered every meeting, every military camp, and every imperial chamber. It was the silent guest that never left. When you genuinely remember that your life is limited, your priorities begin to change. The argument that consumed 3 days becomes insignificant. The opinion of someone who rejected you loses its power. The fear of failure becomes smaller than the regret of never trying. Imagine knowing with certainty that you had only 5 years left. What would you stop doing immediately? The answer is not merely a bucket list. It is a diagnosis. It reveals what you are spending your life on that your future, dying self would find impossible to justify. Marcus performed this diagnosis on himself again and again. It produced the quality for which he became famous. Unshakable calm. Not because he felt nothing, but because he had accepted that loss, failure, and death were unavoidable parts of being alive. Marcus called the protected territory inside the mind the inner citadel. Your reputation can be destroyed. Your wealth can disappear. Relationships can end. Your health can fail. But there is one place no external force can enter without your permission. The place where you decide what events mean. Most people have given away the keys to that place. To the parent whose approval they still seek. To the partner whose mood controls their entire day. To the stranger online whose comment remains inside their mind for hours. Every time the outside world controls your inner state, you abandon the citadel. Even Marcus Aurelius struggled with this. The most powerful man in the world had to remind himself every morning to return to his own mind. The goal was not perfect control. The goal was to keep returning no matter how many times he had surrendered that control the day before. On March 17th, 180 AD, Marcus Aurelius lay dying inside a military camp. He was 58 years old. According to tradition, he turned toward the soldiers gathered nearby and told them to go toward the rising sun, because his own sun was already setting. He died without drama, self-pity, or desperation. Marcus left behind a private journal never meant to be read by the world. It survived because it did not show us a perfect philosopher. It showed us a human being who knew what was right and still struggled to practice it consistently. 2,000 years later, the same struggle continues inside you. The citadel is still there. The door was never locked from the outside. The only question is this: what are you going to do with your mind while life is happening? Go back.